this is Chainsawman in just 17 minutes. Because I'm sure if you're here, you'll probably want to watch the Reze movie, or you kind of already saw it, but you just love Chainsaw Man. So, boom! The whole series in one video. So you don't have to watch all of it. Or, again, don't have to watch all of it again. To the couch! So the anime opens up with our main character, Denji, who's a devil hunter, which are basically like people's fears that formed into monsters, and depending on how much people feared that certain kind of devil, the more powerful it is. If you don't, you'll see later. Just give me a second. So Denji is a devil hunter for the Yakuza, and brother, buddy is obnoxiously down bad. Like, brother, he sold his kidney, his eye, and one of his nuts, all because his dad just straight up cooked their bank account. So he's out here doing anything for bread. So after learning about how cooked Denji is, we get back to his little shack, where we meet Pochita, who, if you didn't know, is Brody's cousin. Yeah, right? You can see it, right? You see the resemblance? No, okay. Then we find out how Pochita and Denji actually met. With Pochita being hurt on the verge of death, he made a contract with Denji so he was able to survive. Since in this world, you can either hunt devils to get rid of them, or if you really wanna, you can make contracts with them for like more power or whatever. Just more on that later. For now, Denji's back to hunting devils when plot twists! The people Denji was working for end up betraying him and making a deal with the zombie devil. So now this mob boss can make an army of zombies. And sadly, they eventually pretty much end up offing Denji and Pochita. But as it turns out, Pochita, right, Buddy was not just some level 1 basic bitch devil, okay? Yeah, turns out that this man actually was the chainsaw devil. So now Pochita and Denji make a new contract to become one being, with Denji pulling on a cord that turns him into ta-da! Chainsawman! And Buddy is absolutely frying these zombies, dude! But they just keep coming and coming. Literally all the way until the next morning, where the devil hunting agency pulls up, only to find Denji, who slammed all the zombies, on the verge of death. When a lady named Makima catches him and goes, "Now, young man, you can either let me pack you up, or you can be my little bitch." And Denji, without hesitation, says yes to being her pet. Which, Makima, please step on me. Denji's eventually brought to the devil headquarters, where we meet Aki, who Makima is forcing them to work together. But while they're on a mission, Aki tries telling Denji to give up because he will probably end up getting bodied. But Denji just thinks Aki wants to get with Makima, so Denji just kicks this dude's nuts off. And when they get back, they both end up begging Makima to have them split up, which just ends with them getting a new member instead, named Power, who's like half devil, half human, I think. They're called fiends, but I honestly don't exactly remember what that means. So if I'm wrong, just go ahead and cook me. All right, that's fine. You can do that. But anyway, Aki tries to actually get along with Denji for once by telling him that if he wants to do this, he's gonna need a goal. So Denji decides that his goal is that he's gonna want to grab some cojones. I'm not even kidding. That's actually, that was what he said. He wanted to grab melons. So they end up going on a mission and offing a devil when they weren't supposed to. So when Makima finds out, she ends up sending Denji and Power off to basically talk it out and become friends, since they weren't really off to a hot start when they first met. When they get back home, we find Power used to have a pet cat, but sadly, it was taken by the Bat Devil, in which Power tries making a deal with Denji. Yes, that if he were to be so kind as to hunt down this devil alongside her, Denji shall be gifted handmade breasts to fondle. Yes, quite extraordinary, do I say so myself. Alright, basically, if Denji helps Power, she'll let him grab her melon, so boom! So they head off to find the Bat Devil, but plot twist! Power actually made a deal to sacrifice Denji to save her cat. But as it turns out, Buddy decided to eat the cat, and so she ends up changing her mind at the very last minute, where she sacrifices herself to save Denji, which pisses off Denji since he can no longer grab Power's melons, and revs up his chainsaws that end up leading to a fight in the city where Denji just starts ripping through this guy. Like, Buddy even throws a car at him, because to him, grabbing melons is way more important than saving people. Eventually, Denji is able to slice the Bat Devil in half, where he saves Power, and then everything seems all swell and dandy until, plot twist, the Leech Devil from the shadows comes in and takes off Denji's arm, and ends up almost offing him, when Aki comes in and manages to save him with his own devil contract. However, when they get back to Makima, she assigns them to live with each other as like a team bonding thing, or something like that. Where at first it's a rocky start, but eventually, it's time for Denji's wish. But when Denji goes in, they were fake? Of course they were fake! With Denji's hopes and dreams in ruin, he goes to Makima, telling her all about his ruined dreams. But then, Makima grabs his head. That's enough of that. We're back to the meat and potatoes. So Denji is assigned a new job to hunt down the Gun Devil, where their only lead on finding the Gun Devil is little pieces of its body left behind. So just to be safe, when they find one of these fragments, they add a second squad to the mix, led by the best girl in Chainsawman, Himeno, who actually was Aki's teacher. And side note, dude, hot damn, Chainsaw Man, brother, you have got some certified baddies. Okay, you got a whole damn roster. God damn. So when they go inside the hotel, we learn that Himeno has a contract with the Ghost Devil. But sadly, that ends up not being much help, because before they knew it, they're trapped inside the hotel, where it's basically like a genjutsu from Naruto. So like, no matter where they go, they end up back at the 8th floor. You know what I'm talking about? Like, you get what I mean. You get what I mean. Which leads the other two absolutely tweaking the hell out. But while Aki is looking around the place, he finds the Eternity Devil, who offers them a deal that if they give him Denji, then he will let them all go. And on the spot, one of the other hunters tries offing Denji without hesitation. But they eventually agree on waiting, since there's a little something fishy. A little fishy going on here. Okay, a little fishy. Denji, however, for the dumbass that he is, realizes that the devil is low-key just not trying to fight him. So of course, Buddy revs up immediately and hops down into the devil's stomach and starts going crazy. Only to find out that this devil is technically immortal, but Denji, right, he can heal himself, just as long as he keeps drinking blood. So now, it's just a waiting game, okay? He rips him up, he can't die. Well, let's see who wins. And for 3 days straight, Denji is just ripping this dude's stomach to shreds until he literally begs for death, and then just lets Denji finish him off. And to celebrate this, they head off to get completely wasted. Except for Denji, because he's a 16-year-old. And remember this, by the way. Just remember, he's a 16-year-old. And then out of nowhere, Himeno goes in to kiss Denji, only to vomit in his mouth. And then Denji just... That's God. Ugh. So Denji just eats the vomit right in front of Makima, who's also his crush. So that's not a good look, Denji. That's ugh. And to skip this last little bit, because I'm not allowed to show any of this, but this grown-ass woman asks a 16-year-old Denji to sleep with her. Which, thank God, he said no, because that That would've been a little weird. But anyways, the next morning, they get to know each other, with both of them agreeing to help the other one get a date with Aki and Makima. And boom! Now we're chillin'! Or so we thought. Cause the gun devil, I think, found out about the squads looking for them, so it sends its own squads after the devil agency, where a squad rolls up on Makima and starts blasting her face in. But then we cut back to the main squad, where some guy pulls up on Denji, talking about I'm that grandson of that mob boss from like the first episode, and then lights up the place. But luckily, Aki manages to end him. Nah, I'm kidding. Yeah, brother busts out the devil, and as it turns out, he's exactly like Denji, but just with katanas. So he's cooking. He's about to fry some people. Okay. Until Aki pulls out another devil's power to rip him apart. So now, finally, it seems like they barely won. Right. Yeah, no, actually, brother just gets revived, but before he can actually hawk down Aki, Himeno sacrifices herself to the ghost devil, only for it to box with the snake devil now. So literally, all hell is breaking loose with all these devils all over the place. And sadly, the ghost devil ends up losing. Before it goes away, it revs up Denji, who is pissed off, and immediately starts hawking down the Katana man, in which they start kind of going crazy, okay? And after a long, crispy fight, Denji ends up getting sliced in half. But before we see what happens to him, we cut back to the people who gunned Makima, when Makima pulls up like goddamn Michael Myers, only to cut back to when she meets her squad mates, where she takes them to this shrine-looking thing, and starts using some sort of ability that I'm not sure exactly what it is yet. They don't explain it at this point in the story, so when that becomes a thing, I got y'all. We cut back to Katana Man and his gang when the girl from the hotel rolls up, completely locked in, and manages to force Katana Man's gang to dip for now. Then we get back to Makima when we find out that pretty much the whole entire Devil Hunter agency was squad wiped. So everyone left is under Makima now. And she seems a little too happy about this, not gonna lie. Oh wait, and also, Aki eventually learns about Himeno, but Denji low-key doesn't really feel anything about it, so he's kind of worried that merging with Pocha made him a little meh. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you do. But anyway, Makima assigns Power and Denji to train with the strongest devil hunter alive at this moment, where he proceeds to just murk them over and over again until they have to manage to hit him once. And they are really trying their best, okay? They are throwing crazy haymakers, only just to get bodied. Meanwhile, while that's happening, we find out Aki lost all his other devil powers. So being pissed that his lover, maybe, I don't know what their title is, but she ended up dying. So he makes another deal with the future devil, who is stronger than the other two he had before. But instead of like giving the devil something in return, he just asks to live in Aki's eye so he can, and I quote this, witness him dying in the worst way possible. So, that does not sound good, Mr. Aki, sir, but you got it, bro. You got it. When we get back to Denji and Power, they eventually end up scratching Kishibe, which is good enough for him. So, he tells them that they're gonna swat Katana Man and his gang soon, so they need to lock the hell in. But before that, Makima rolls up on the gang that I think worked with the Gun Devil. Not 100% sure on that, but I'm assuming they did. Where she threatens them by showing them their family's eyeballs. All right, something's a little fishy here, Makima. But that's not a deal breaker. Makima, please, for the love of God, just step on me, please. Now, with information on where the Gun Devil probably is, with a bunch of fiends, that I don't think will be that important later on, but I might get cooked for this one. But if they are important later on, we'll figure that out when we get there. But for now, while all of these fiends are boxing with the zombies that the mob boss from episode 1 had left over, Aki pulls up on the bitch that offed best score Imino. And at first, he's kind of hanging in there. But she steals Imino's powers and he gets kind of locked up. Until the ghost of my baby, Himeno, comes in and gives him a motivational speech, and then Aki beams its head clean off. When this bitch tries to throw hands with him, the girl from before comes in clutch. And that my friend, that's phenomenal footwork, brother. I mean, that was textbook tag team combo. But now, with that out of the way, Denji pulls up on Katana Man, and it is on sight, brother. This man revs up immediately, and they get to scrapping. And after one of the most cleanest and juiciest squabbles of recent times, Katana Man ends up spamming the same move a couple times until Denji only has his head chainsaw left. And on the third time he goes after him, Denji grows a chainsaw from his leg, splitting Katana Man in half. But he just heals back up, and now he's tied up. When Aki meets back up with Denji, the two finally get along a little bit, starting to create bonds by taking turns nailing Katana Man in the nuts. Meanwhile, Makima tries torturing the bitch from before to learn more about the Gun Devil, but she just ends up offing herself instead, leaving Makima with nothing. Or so we thought, because she said they had enough parts to go after the Gun Devil now. So, yeah, sick. Oh, also, Denji keeps having like a weird dream about Pochita. So when you see the movie, you'll probably understand what's going on. But if you want to watch a different movie recap thing, I put all of One Piece in just 65 minutes for you guys. Or if you want to watch all of Naruto instead in just 46 minutes, there's that too. But in any case, thank you so much for watching. I love you guys. I'll see you in the next one.